So recently we have seen a lot of hacks on the bridges which have been happening.
I personally do think that despite everything, the turnout and the passion has been out there.
So yeah, I admire him a lot, being an Indian founder.
I want to understand from you that the interest in Web3 has increased compared to, say 2012, what it was. We are at Token 2049 Dubai. My name is Madiha Khan for Voice of Crypto, and right now with me I have Mr. Kuntal Ganguly, famously known as KT, the managing partner at MT Capital. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Madhya, for hosting me.
So start off with, tell us a little bit about MT Capital and, what do we really do?
Fine. So MT Capital, also known as Momentum Capital, is a crypto native fund. So we are actively deploying investments into Web3 tech startups, and it's a 50 million fund. Right moment of time, we are managing approximately 85 million of AUM, and we are a global fund. So our active investments portfolio includes recent investments which we made, like BitSmiley is one of the investments which we led the round. Then we have Doubler. Then we recently invested in SideQuest, then UXLink, and Yala Finance. So these are the investments which we recently made in a couple of weeks ago. So so that's what we have, a team of nearly 14 people. We are very good at our market research side. So we also, are into quants market as well. So that's how we manage these funds, and we are growing right moment of time. So thank you, Voice of Crypto. If any of the new narrative, founders who are looking forward for funding or would probably like to get us introduced, I'm happy to talk to them as well.
Which is something that I wanted to come to about the kind of narratives that we're going after. But before that, what I want to start off, what I want to understand is that at the beginning of the journey with MT Capital, what were the kind of fund sizes and where have we reached now? So what has the trajectory been like?
So say if you see, the Web3 all space, the funds and the liquidity into the Web3 system is growing like crazy right moment of time. So back 2 months ago, when you see the SEC approval giving ETF approvals to big giants, certain example are like for relative BlackRock, and they're coming into the picture. There is a lot of inflow of institutional funds which is coming into the picture. So apart from that, the VC funding is always there since the starting, and fortunate enough, MT is also leading this space right moment of time. So the not only from the institutions, the retailers are also quite active right moment of time into investments, and this is just the start of the Web3 era. And we personally believe that DLT and blockchain technology, that is distributed ledger technology, is the near future which we could see. A lot of enterprise and bigger companies are moving towards and transiting towards Web3 and trying to explore solutions around Web3. So keeping that in mind, I think there is a bigger opportunity in this space. So that's how we are growing, and the ecosystem is growing over here.
That's great. So coming back to my first question, what are the kind of narratives that we are exploring currently at MT Capital?
Yeah, so the narrative when it comes to investments, there is a lot of factors that taken into the consideration, and the narrative is one of the important factor for us right moment of time. If you see, the first narrative which we are quite bullish upon is on Bitcoin ecosystem. So if you have seen like post Taproot upgrades, and there is a lot of protocols that have been deployed for improvising the Bitcoin architectural protocols altogether. So the Bitcoin ecosystem is something which we are quite bullish on, and recently, if you're aware, there is something which is known as runes that is going to come into the existence. So there is a lot of buzzword around it. I think they are going to solve a lot of present challenges in BRC standards. So going forward, we would be probably looking forward for layer 2 solutions in Bitcoin ecosystem, and then there are going to be narratives of decentralized finance which are going to come to Bitcoin ecosystem. So that is one of the areas where we are quite bullish, and the narrative is quite lucrative right moment of time if you consider it from the investments perspective, which had blown up Ethereum. I think that is going to replicate the same to the Bitcoin ecosystem. Coming to the next narrative, there is one more which we are quite interested upon, is on DeepIn. So DeepIn is decentralized physical network infrastructure. So if you have seen that, lots of projects are coming on decentralized computing, decentralized, storage, and decentralized, networks, and in fact in energy sectors as well. So if the narratives play well, they have a lot of bigger market chunk to grab on. So DeepIn is which we are actively looking forward to invest in. Apart from that, if there are any kind of layer one solutions, or if there are any kind of good killer apps which includes AI or RWA, which is the hot cake right moment of time. So that is also one of the area where we are actively finding projects where we could put our money. So these are ones.
That's great. That's a wide spectrum, basically. From an expert point of view, what do you think are going to be the potential hurdles that the industry in general is going to have to overcome in the near future?
Yes, so this industry is growing up rapidly, and now we are seeing a lot of real businesses and real enterprises migrating their business to Web3. There are certainly a lot of challenges which will be playing around. The first is technologically adopting. So many Web2 players or many enterprises, they already have the complete setup of their infrastructure and their processes from the Web2 perspective. So technical migration is one of the challenges which we see, but we are fortunate enough that there are a lot of industry leaders which are coming up and helping this brand to migrate from Web2 to Web3. Second part is that there are a lot of, if you say in terms of banking and financial sectors or any kind of institutions, money, those who want to, put in into banking and financial. So they have restrictions that they cannot go for a public blockchain. So there comes a need of adoption of a hybrid or a private sort of blockchains for them. So, bigger banks and bigger, corporate financial sectors, people are looking forward to implement hybrid kind of structures for them. So that brings in need of an interoperable chains. So that is one of the area, because recently we have seen a lot of hacks on the bridges which have been happening. So from that perspective, there are challenges. Then when it comes to global players, there is major challenges of the compliances issues which this enterprises has to roll up right now, because every country's compliance is different right now. So they have to mitigate those kind of compliance challenges when they are adopting Web3. Apart from that, there are security challenges which are there in this market. So when adopting to the migration from Web2 to Web3, these enterprises have to look forward for having a proper security in place, so that there is no hacks or no loopholes on the smart contracts which they are deploying for any kind of decentralized applications for them. So yeah, I could see certain challenges over there, but the way this market is moving and the way the narrative is set, I think down the line of a couple of years from now, if the bigger brands and the newer ones would probably like to excel and the bigger ones to survive, they have to move their businesses to Web. So that's what my outlook is all about.
That's nice. A very opinion-based question is coming up to you next. It's a two-part question. Firstly, I want to understand from you that the interest in Web3 has increased compared to, say 2012, what it was. And it is foreseen that the interest is going to, the bubble is going to burst. So first, do you think the bubble is going to burst? And my second question is, do you think the industry is ready for that?
See, when we talk about bubble, many people have to understand that what is the substance and what is the bubble around it. So when any narrative in this globe becomes a hotter narrative, people generally try to create a ruckus out of it. Today, if you see, there are going to be a lot of MLM scams which are running. Though you put in money in your Bitcoin and you're getting crazy 30 to 40% of returns overnight, and that gets a multiplier. So see, the retail segments who are into this space generally fall because they are not deep into the technology. They are not deep into this, the system which we are, looking forward for. But they just fall for it, and many goons takes a valid advantage. Hey, put in your money and we are going to make your money grow. No, this ecosystem is not about this. This is a purely tech based supply demand and token utility based deployment which we have to understand. So if you guys are looking forward to get rich because it's Bitcoin, it's nothing like that. It will take you for a ride. The market sentiments might go up, might go down, because it again depends upon a lot of speculations right moment. And so that is also one of the concern from the major institutional investors, those who are into the space, that how to control or what to do with the kind of speculative elements which we have. But bubble, if you consider bubble in Web 2.0, when World Wide Web came into the picture, that moment of time there was a lot of companies who were into creating MLM schemes, or just coming for the sake of Web 2.0. And when actually the era ends, only the technical and the real implemented partners, guys, or leaders or company stays into the picture. Other just vanishes up, so they evaporate. So yes, of course, you can say that there might be a certain level of bubble, but it's not like that there is no intrinsic value to the blockchain industry. People always get confused, which I would probably like to put it in front of cameras as well, that if you see from the centralized perspective, they say that we don't find cryptocurrencies as a legitimate tender or something like that. But this is not a currency. Please understand that. Again, I am speaking it that these are digital assets. Consider it as a commodity that has certain values which derives from the token utility, the utilities which they provide over the tabs or any kind of their infrastructure tokens or something like that. And those utility tokens which are having its value gets derived from the supply and demand in the market. So that's how this place is being made. So it should be considered as a commodity rather than currency. So it's not a bubble. There is certainly an intrinsic value, but yes, there are players who are creating the customer.
And do you think that we are ready for the kind of attention that we are going to get in the coming days?
Yes.
Industry in general.
Yes. So if you see, there are a lot of brands which have already migrated. You name them, from Walmart to Nike to any automobile industries, whether they want to implement NFT-based offerings, or any bigger brands like Amex or somebody who would probably like to deploy blockchain, the Hyperledger framework which they have been deploying at moment of time. And there are supply chain companies who would probably like to use blockchain technology for authenticity and transparency of supplies of their goods and products. So we are ready, and it's not going to happen overnight. Like, it takes some time. Slowly and steadily, the world is migrating to Web3, and Web3 is all about community. It's against a centralized notion altogether. So Web3 is community-driven mechanism which the businesses have to adopt sooner or later. That's what my understanding is.
Right. You also mentioned about the technical aspect that only the ones who are technically savvy or who have had substance when it comes to that aspect have survived. So taking that, there are a lot of technological advancements that from the Web3 have been translated into the real world. So any one specific that you'd want to highlight that personally excites you?
For the adoption part, you mean to say that? I just gave an example. So IBM was working on a food tracking system where fresh to farm. What I mean to say is that there are a lot of people who are talking about vegan product, right? There are a lot of people who are talking about organic food nowadays. So how to give a transparency that this food which is on your plate is organic or not? So right from the farm to your plate, the entire supply chain is being dragged on blockchain. So, but it is quite transparent. It cannot be tampered. So that guarantees you that the promises which this supply chain companies are doing is not free. Second, implementation is happening from the digital currency spaces like the banking and financial system. They have understood that their native currencies are not going to be replaced, and Bitcoin is not going to be a so-called currency right moment of time. But the underlying technology is blockchain, which is against centralized banking system. Centralized banking system has a centralized area of failure because the database is tampered, centralized, so it can fail. So they are moving towards a decentralized technology. So it's termed as DLT, decentralized ledger technology, and the underlying technology blockchain, they are adopting it. They are modifying the blockchains from public to private, and they are having a mixed match of hybrid kind of blockchain framework, like the Hyperledger, which I have already mentioned. So that is making them getting in a clear-cut edge over the traditional banking finances. That is one of the areas where blockchain has been implemented. And I suppose another is, I suppose you're from the Voice of Crypto, so the decentralized media should also
Yes.
come into the existence. Because any centralized authority controlling the businesses and the other stakeholders which are not being rewarded is pretty bad. We are talking about YouTube. There is a platform which is known as DTube, decentralized,
Yes.
and we today use lots of people use Chrome browser. There is a Brave browser. So when they collect your data today, they generally take your consent that if you want to share your data, because the companies are making money out of it, you will be rewarded by a BAT token, which you can easily trade in the open market, because you are one who are facilitating them to get your data, and they put a lot of data analytics on top of it and selling to the companies. Then why you are not being rewarded out of it? So real world usage are there in these systems, and you'll see many more such examples.
That's nice. That was very, very insightful. Now, one perception that I personally have is that the Web3 industry in general attracts a lot of youngsters. And I believe that a lot of the current generation is going to be pulled, onto this side.
Yes.
And that's how it's going to, really bloom. So from this aspect, it's very important for a lot of young minds who are watching us right now, for us to know what your journey has been. I mean, you started off somewhere. So let us know about it. How did you reach this stage?
Well, coming back to my journey, by qualification, I am a software developer. Okay, and by profession, I am much more inclined towards business strategies, operations, and investments. Bitcoin was pretty new. It just there was a fictitious person, Satoshi Nakamoto, who have came up with a technical algorithmic tech paper for the Bitcoin, and then there was the era of Ethereum and Definity and so on. So I heard about Bitcoin in 2014 when somebody in my known, he is head of IPF at that moment of time, said, Katie, what's your thought on Bitcoin? So Bitcoin, what's that? Let me Google it out. Then I started my journey being a software developer from the Solidity, which is an Ethereum compatible development chain for development platform for Ethereum. And then sooner or later, I found, hey, people are making money out of it through investments. So actively since 2016, I have started investing into a lot of tech startups, lot of Web3 crypto startups as well. And I have gone deeper into this system, understood that how the token play works, because I was quite known to the equity segment that moment of time. For me, having a token based investment was quite strange, but sooner or later I understood that these are utility tokens, and if the companies are really pushing it solve real world problems, then the utility will be derived through their tokens. And the best part is that these tokens are liquid from day one. So that brought my interest into the Bitcoin and then the crypto space. So since 2016, I am actively investing into Web3 companies, and I have advised few companies as well. And so now I'm here with MT Capital, growing MT Capital, and we are very much fortunate enough that we are, as a fund and as an investment, our investment portfolio is growing rapidly.
It definitely is. What's your perspective about Token 2049? It's happening in Dubai, and this is the first time that it's happening in Dubai. What is your general feeling? You guys also hosted at Atlantis, and at that time there was a downpour. How did you manage all of that?
So we have been preparing to bring the industry leaders on a conference in the Web3 during this Token 2049, and nearly 100 plus venture funds were participating over there. We got a registration of about 1,500 people, but unexpectedly was flooding everywhere. Like on the fine morning on 2016, on the 16th of this month, nobody knew that this is going to be a such situation. And unexpectedly, we got an attendees of 600 people. We approved more than 1,000 people, and so the event was great. All the speakers turned out, and unfortunately, there was some speakers who couldn't make it up because it was not viable for them. And we have a plan to host a crypto party as well on 20th. So you guys are most welcome. And the overall vicinity looks great over here. So the whole world is here. Dubai is the place where lot of crypto enthusiasts come to explore, to connect, and to grow together. So Token 2049 is a good place to be here during this time, during the summer times, and yeah, the charm is good.
Great, and thank you so much for the invitation. Also, one again very opinion based thing. What do you think at 2049 at Token 2049? Are people more over here for tokens, or are they here for Bitcoin mining? What's your general perception?
So when you talk about mining, at the initial stage when Bitcoin was trading below and the hash power was quite low, the mining was quite feasible for each and every individual. And as the Bitcoin halving, so halving is something which recently within the days we are going to see another Bitcoin halving, and this creates a requirement for the hash power to go up. So for an individual, it is pretty difficult to set up those racks and GPU powers to mine, but there is certainly a lot of pooling system which is happening. So individuals would participate with those bigger pools to get some certain kind of mining rewards when they contribute for the GPUs. And I think most of the people over here have a different need, different perspective. Like I am here to network with people, find good projects, and support the ecosystem to grow, and of course to meet good, wonderful people around, because Web3 is again all about community. There are people who are looking forward for business collaborations over here. And then there are newbies whom I met. Like there were a lot of newbies over here. The young people who are quite, crazy about Bitcoin. What this space is all about. There are college students, and so the beauty part over here is that the new people are quite open for adoptions. Right? They can easily adopt. So I have seen a lot of young generations moving, and there you will find founders. You will find builders who are just 19, 20 years old, and they're doing wonderful job in this field. Yeah. So it's a diversified kind of need for each and everybody, and we have a lot of people. I think Dubai 2049, if there was no calamities, natural calamities, we would have seen more people around.
Right. I personally do think that despite everything, the turnout and the passion has been out there. Yeah. So before we conclude, I'm going to do a quick rapid fire with you. Let's sort of, understand things a little better with you. So I'm going to ask you questions, and whatever comes to your mind quickly, there'll be choice and all of that you tell me. Let's start off with pick one, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Bitcoin.
Good choice. Where do you think Bitcoin will reach by the end of this year?
Nearly, I'm looking forward for 125k to 150.
Okay, that's nice. Do you have like a favorite crypto founder or somebody you idolize or look forward to?
Being an Indian, I have seen Sandeep from Polygon growing pretty well.
Right.
When he was in India, I still remember when he was giving a talk on the Layer 2. I was one of them. Was very, will that work? It will be the, there would be adoptions to Layer 2. The tech will work or not. Is it a side chain or really a Layer 2? But the way he has grown the ecosystem is massive. And nothing comes in front of him when there was technical challenges and the growth challenge. So yeah, I admire him a lot, being an Indian founder. Apart from that, there are a lot of impactful builders, creators. Of course, Vitalik is one of them, and CZ has done a lot for this ecosystem to bring, finance.
In everybody's.
Yeah, so he's an enabler, and he brought Binance to the top. So one of them, and yeah, and there are so many new founders whom I meet, and I see the passion in them. So I think they will also grow pretty well in this system. It's for everybody. Sorry, I took a longer time when you asked.
No, but as an Indian, the first choice that you went with Sandeep, that's pretty much a basic,
Role
answer
model.
when it comes. It definitely has revolutionized a lot of things. Do you have a favorite meme coin?
When it comes to meme coin, I think I would soon have a meme coin because I hold runestones. So runestones is pretty famous. Everybody is talking about runestones right moment of time. So nearly 112 thousands of runestones were been given to the community. There is no VC, there is no team, or it's completely decentralized when it comes to the distribution, fairly distributed. So they are going to launch a DOC token. So I am quite bullish on that, but it is yet to hit the market. But I think it won't settle down below 1 billion market capitalization. And suddenly, this runestone is something which might people be aware of, but it is somewhere trading around 0.08 BTC, which is roughly around $6,000 right now. And if you hold a runestones, you are going to get 3 meme tokens by end of this year. That's what has been promised. So let's see. I think I'm not too much fond of meme tokens, but this time let's see how BTC meme tokens are playing the ecosystem. That's all.
What comes to your mind when I say play to earn?
Play to earn is a quite good initiative in Web3. As a childhood memories, I was seeing a game here, Taken 3. I used to play a lot. I wasted a lot of money and time, and I couldn't give much time to my studies. I was always there in the place, so playing the Taken 3 game. Now the world is changing. So again, when we call about community, there are a lot of contributors to a game.
Right.
And the recent, the AAA rated games are gaining a lot of tractions. So every contributor who is contributing for the overall development of the gaming ecosystem should be rewarded. So play to earn is something which this gamers who dedicate their time, builders who dedicate for their creativity, and of course the owners would be rewarded. So play to earn is one of the greatest revolutionary impact for them.
That's great. If you had to pick one, AI or metaverse, what would you pick?
Currently the narrative is AI for me, and I won't be surprised if metaverse become more mature and there is a adoption of AI into the metaverse. That is going to be quite interesting thing. Maybe we would see a lot of projects coming on those grounds also.
So for the next one, I sort of know the answer, but I'm still going to go ahead and ask DeepIn or RWA.
For me, DeepIn.
Yeah.
DeepIn is something because RWA there are a lot of initiatives which is happening, but DeepIn I'm quite bullish on, and DeepIn has a certain growth story ahead which we'll seeing in coming years. So yeah, DeepIn.
That's a great choice. Also, something it's part of your narrative, so it had to be your pick already. So one general perception that's there about the Web3 market is that there are a lot of complexities when it comes to terms. There are a lot of jargons. So what we're doing over here is we want you to either debunk something, a term that people have been sort of, putting a wrong narrative around, or simply explain a jargon. So a tutorial kind of class is going to happen, and this one I want you to directly address our audience.
Okay, there are a lot of things. So first, the famous one is FOMO. Everybody knows about it. Fear of missing out. Then there is fear, uncertainty. That is FUD, which we have a lot common. So FOMO and FUD goes opposite to each other. And then there is something which is known as APIN. APIN means whatever the coin is, it is a bullish sentiment altogether. Just go for it. Your region, just go for it. APIN. So that's what we say. And apart from that, rug pull. Rug pull is one of famous jargon. So when she was talking about bubble in the industry, rug pull is something like, hey boss, I invested it and it's zero right moment of time. There is no liquidity. Hey, you have been rug pulled. So that is one of more jargon which we have. So yeah, these are the 4 famous one. If you're not
Really nice. I think you're the one person who has explained the most coolest jargons to us right now. You're going to make us very cool when you go ahead and use all of this. Thank you so much for talking to us. Before we wrap up, just one piece of advice that you'd want to give to anybody who's just starting off, with their investments in crypto.
Okay, so when you're starting with investments, first of all, don't FOMO. Okay, The reason behind is that as a newbie, when I come into the investments, I always look for alphas. Hey boss, where to invest? Okay, fine. So a Twitter influencer or YouTube influencers have asked you to invest. Cool, fine. They might be right, but apart from the investment, you have to understand when to invest and when to exit as well. Because unless and until you realize the profits are not yours.
Right.
So before investments, make sure that you know what that project is doing. Make sure that how's the team. Make sure at what stage are they, so that when the market is south, you should always hold that token. And when it is climbing up, you should always realize your profit. So that is the way. You can't hold a coin or altcoin for the entire bull season and you're just sitting as a bag holder. That shouldn't be the case.
That's a great piece of advice. Thank you so much for sharing so many insights with us. You've been very helpful with, letting our audience understand everything to do with this industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhya, for hosting me. It's good to connect.